Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Bhigno Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenakshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakarnam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagarthaviva Samprikto Vagarthav Pratipattaye Jagatav Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwaro Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namaste everyone. Get started. I'll share my screen with you. So hope everyone's keeping safe and healthy. It's nice to see everyone joining us. So the first question in the warm-up was, it says number 2, but it should be number 1. The Karaka most connected with the fourth case is? The Karaka most connected with the fourth case is what we call Sampradanam, right? Recipient of action, of giving. And so the recipient of action. So the fourth case, which is in the sense of Sampradanam, is called Sampradane Chaturthi. So we learned that in our last class. What case is often connected with the words Namaha or Swasti? All you have to do is chant Om Namah Shivaya, right? Om Namah Shivaya. That will solve all your problems because Shivaya is fourth case. So if you look here in the middle of the screen, the words connected with Namaha, Swasti, Swaha, all get the fourth case. So Indraya Swaha, or Pranaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Vyanaya Swaha, Udam, Brahmane Swaha. Okay. Now, number 4, if I use a noun in the sense of karta, which case could it be in? So some of the answers I saw with this were not correct. So let's look at this one. Now, a noun can be in a sense of karta. First, we have to think, are we in kartari prayoga or karmani prayoga? If we are in kartari prayoga, the karta can be in first case. So that's called kartari prathama. Then, if I want to look in karmani prayoga, the karta is in third case. So I call that kartari tritiya. So you have to know which, are we talking active voice or passive voice? A lot of Vedanta is in passive voice. So the action is done by the body. Okay. Do you remember the first cases of Rama Shabda? Yes, no? Shaking some heads? Okay, some people do, but let's review it anyways because this will be our prayer. Today is Ram Nomi, happy Ram Nomi. So let's chant a Rama Shabda. This will be our prayer. So, Om. Ready? Close your eyes if you know it. If you don't, you can look at the screen. Ready? Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramo, Raman, Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. Fourth case, Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyaha. Fifth case, Ramat, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyaha. So 5-2, 4-2 are the same. 5-3, 4-3 are the same. So all we need to know is in fifth case, we just add, we make the akara long, so it becomes Rama, and then we add that dakara at the end. So Ramat or Ramad. More commonly we see Ramat. Okay. If this is one good practice is in the workbook. In the workbook, you will see if you flip. I'm not sure what page, but if you look in the workbook, there's actually pages where you can practice this with different akaranta punlinga shabda. So I can do it with guna, I can do it with deva, and so I can do this practice, and you know that. And the reason of doing the practice is not so you can memorize it, but when we get to Vedanta class and you hear the text, right, you might start picking up that, oh, I hear something like Ramaya. So that looks like fourth case. Okay, so we should be able to pick up what case it is from the text, and then we can figure out what the meaning is, the vibhakti artha. So let's close this. Okay, so starting with the new material, we're going to look at fifth case. So this what I'm looking at right now. Let's not go there right now. What we're going to do fifth case. Fifth case is connected with apadanam, but what I want to start with is page 16, 1-6 in the book. Page 16. When we talk about, there's a word called karaka, right? A karaka is a factor related to the action. So something which is related to the action word, often a verb, right? Now, the factor connected to the karaka, factor connected to the action can be one of 6, right? There's 6 karakas. First we saw karta karaka, karma karaka, karana karaka, sampradana karaka, and now apadanam, 5th one. Okay. A lot of people, myself included, often get sampradanam, apadanam mixed up. At least in the beginning, I used to get them mixed up. But so we have to remember, sampradanam, 4th case, apadanam is 5th case. Okay. So, apadanam. What is apadanam? It says origin of action is apadanam. The origin, the starting place of action. So, with reference to a given action which involves separation, the point from which the separation takes place gets a technical name, apadana. Point from which separation takes place gets a technical name, apadana. So the examples will make it clear. Oh, not that. Here. Apple falls from the tree. Okay? So we always have to pick up the action word, because for karakas, we have to pick up what is the action. The action is falling. So with reference to the action of falling, who falls? Apple falls. So apple is called karta. Apple, where is the origin of falling? Where does the falling start? From the tree. So the origin, the start of the action is apadanam. So the tree is the origin of the action of falling. Therefore, we call it apadanam. Yep. Apple falls from the tree, hits Newton in the head. Okay. Number 2, he goes to the village from a house. Okay. So in the chat, can you tell me which karakas do you see in this sentence? Okay, so actually, let's rephrase that. What is the karta karaka? What is the karma karaka? And what is the apadana karaka? 1, 2, 3. What is the karta, karma, and apadana? Okay, great. Seeing some answers there. So with reference to the action of going, who goes? He goes. So he is the karta. He goes where? Where is the object of the action? He goes to the village. So village is karma. And where is the origin? Where does he go from? He goes from the house. From a house. So notice that apadanam, you can often see the English word from, that preposition from. So that from is to be noted. Devadatta falls from a running horse. With reference to the action of falling. What are my karakas here? Yeah. So with reference to the action of falling, who falls? Devadatta falls. So Devadatta is the karta, and running horse is apadana. It's the place where he falls from. Now, here's a funny thing that Medaji wants to extend our learning here, is that running horse. So now we have another action word, running. So with reference to the action of running, horse is the karta. Okay, so we all missed that. With reference to the action of running, the horse is the karta. With reference to the action of falling, devadatta is the karta. Okay, so you have to see which, you got to catch the verb or catch the action word when you're looking at karakas. And which one are you talking about? Depending on that, the status change. With reference to Sita ji, Rama is husband. With reference to Lakshmana, Rama is brother. So depending on who we relate to, the status changes, but the one person might be one and the same. So horse can be apadanam and karta both. Now, running is not a verb, right? So I think that's a question. But in Sanskritam, the concept of karaka is connected to a word that indicates action. Okay? So word that indicates action, you can have karakas related to that, even if it's a noun, technically. Harprasad ji, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear. 1 second. My volume is off. Go ahead.
Yes. Is it necessary for apadane panchami to say from?
Not always, but a lot of times we would translate using from. That's the easiest way.
Right, but can we say the apadane panchami, a running horse, not from a running horse?
So how else would you say it then?
No, Devadatta is the karta, and apadane panchami is running horse, not from a running horse. Correct. Am I right?
Yeah, so the running horse itself is the apadana.
Okay.
But when we put it in Sanskrit, we would say, I don't know what horse is, but let's say Devadattat. Okay, we put it in fifth case, Devadattat. So that Devadattat, no, but I'm not, okay, let me use a different word, so that's confusing. Tasmat, okay, that, tasmat. So that's fifth case.
Yeah.
So tasmat, fifth case, when I translate that, the whole word, we would have to say from that. We have to include the from.
Oh.
Ashwa means dog, technically, but so, but it could be in a horse as well, potentially, maybe. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Now we want to go to, let's find the page. Panchami Vibhakti. So this is page page 80 in the book, 80. Okay. One thing I gotta remind us is that Karaka is not equal to Vibhakti. Vibhakti can indicate Karaka, but Vibhakti can indicate something else. Okay, so they're not the same. Okay, sure. Okay, got it. Thank you. Ashwa is horse. Shwana is dog. Is that correct? Thank you. Appreciate that. So Shwanat from the earlier example. Okay, so going to Panchami Vibhakti, this is page 80. On page 80, you'll see fifth case, right? So the fifth case can indicate the apadanam, and it's employed to convey that apadanam that we just learned about, that fifth karaka. So they're connected. When it indicates that apadana, it's called apadane panchami. Okay, apadane panchami. So we put apadana in the seventh case. So apadane. So panchami, fifth case, apadane, in the sense of the origin of action, the apadana. Phalam vrikshat patati. Patati falls. What falls? Phalam, the fruit falls from what? The tree. So the origin of action is the tree. Because it's the origin of action, we get the fifth case. Phalam is the karta. Phalam is the karta. This is kartari, prayoga. So phalam is the karta. So it would be 1-1. Okay. So we saw all this. Okay. What we'll do is we'll look at the exercise related to this. So if you go to the back of the book, page 174, well, now we can do an exercise. So we're going to move back and forth between the pages. I want to connect them more clearly. The book itself goes through a lot of material, and then it'll ask you to go to the back. But I think if we link it more, it'll be a little bit easier. So this is page 174 in the back. Devadattaha vrikshat patati. But I would actually just look at the screen. Okay, just follow with the screen. So, right, what do we always look for when we look for the verb, right? So we pick up the tinganta padam. Tinganta padam is patati. You only catch that action. Dhatu, verb is made up of two things, dhatuhu and ting pratyaya. Dhatuhu is pat. Pat, 1p, pat, to fall, right? Ting pratyaya, lat lakara, present tense, kartri prayoga, active voice, third person, singular. So translation is falls. Who falls after the verb? We always go to the first case. Okay, so devadattaha. Pratipadika devadatta akaranta pullingaha. Supratyaya prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. Just like Ramaha. Vibhakti arthaha. Because we're in karti prayoga, this is kartari prathama to patati. There's a question, what if there is no first case? This happens sometimes that you won't see the first case, but the first case is always implied. So sometimes you won't see the first case, so we have to supply a first case, like saha. Or in Vedanta, often the first case would be sadhakaha, the seeker. That's often what, what will fit. But the context will decide what the 1-1 is. But there will always be 1-1 there or 1-1 implied. So a lot of times we have to supply it for our complete understanding if it's not visible. Okay? Vrikshat, vriksha, akaranta punlinga, panchami vibhakti, ekavachanam, just like ramat. And vibhakti arthaha, so Devadatta falls. Devadatta falls from where? He falls from the tree, vriksha. So because he falls from that place, that origin of action, that vriksha is given the fifth case, panchami vibhakti ekavachanam, in the sense of apadana. So padane panchami. I don't know what Devadatta is doing in the tree, right? But somehow he's falling. Devadatta falls from the tree. He's really social distancing, huh? Okay, that's not funny. I'm sorry. Okay. Now we go back. Now we go back to page 80. So you can put a piece of paper in between. We're going to flip between these pages. No, sorry. Let me tell you. Hold on. Actually, let's go back to page 16. Let's go back to page 16. 1-6. So on page 16 and 17, you'll see it'll give a description of apadana. Now, apadana we saw as origin of action primarily. The funny thing about apadana is, though, that in the sutras, when we're studying when we're studying in the sutras, the apadana status is given to a bunch of things, okay? So when we looked at the other karakas, karta is just object of action. Karana is just an instrument. But here, apadanam is given to a lot of different things. One of the things is origin of action. Also, the second thing, something one fears is also given the status of apadana. Okay? It has nothing to do with origin of action now. Okay? So we had to know this is just something different. It's not origin of action. It's something which one fears and something from which one has to protect oneself. Okay, I have to protect myself from something. That thing from which I have to protect myself is apadana. So example, right? The first one, something which one fears. He is afraid of the snake. Of the snake. So with reference to the action of being afraid, he is the karta, he is afraid. And what is the source of the fear? The snake. Okay, the snake is apadana because it's the source of the fear. In my mind now, because we study so much Vedanta, my question was, is it a rope or is it a snake? Who knows? Okay, now the second part of this is something from which one needs protection. Bhagavan protects people from papa. Rama protects society from Ravana. Right? Whatever you need protection from is also called apadana. With reference to the action of protecting, who protects? Bhagavan. He protects who? People, so that the people are the karma. And what is we protecting from? So we're protecting from the papa, I'm not going to translate papa. Papa is apadanam. Okay. So that apadana status is given to not just origin of action, also source of fear, and also that which we need protection from. Another way we get status of apadanam, okay? Besides those ones, a teacher in formal learning is also given the status of apadanam. Now, this has nothing to do with what we just talked about before, right? This is a different, it gets a different status. So teacher in formal learning can also be called apadanam. The teacher might also be the source of fear, but that's a different story. Or you might need to be protected from the teacher. Then that fits in the 5 minutes ago. Students study the Vedas from the teacher. Action of studying. Who studies? The students study. So students are karta. Students study what? Vedas are karma. And the teacher in the formal learning is apadana. Okay. Okay. So now, if we just jump back to page 80, page 80, can you see this on page 80 or page 81? Yeah, you can see this? Yeah? Page 80. Okay, it is on page 80. You'll see this example number 2. So, fifth case is given to the apadana. Now that apadanam has so many ways you can get apadana, right? So, apadana, so the fifth case could be given to something, the origin of action. So, Devadatta vrikshat patati. So he falls from the tree. So because it's the origin of action, that word is considered apadanam, and then it's given the fifth case. But also, right, we just learned that the source of fear is also given apadana status. Once it gets that status, then it can also get the fifth case, right? Once I get the status of citizen, then I get special benefits. So I can need the status first. So we can get the status by origin of action. We can get the status by also the source of fear. Devadattaha vyagrat vibheti. Vibheti, he, she, it is afraid. Who is afraid? Devadatta is afraid. Devadatta is afraid of what? Vyagra, the tiger. So that tiger is a source of fear, therefore it gets the status of apadanam, and therefore it gets fifth case. Yeah? Shaking heads? Yes or no? Okay. Remember, another way we can get the status of apadanam is that from which we need protection from. That from which we need protection. Ishvaraha dukkhat naran rakshati. Rakshati protects. Who protects? Ishvara protects. Ishvara protects who? Naran, people. From what? From dukkhat. That from which we need protection gets the status of apadanam. Therefore, fifth case. This is all still apadane panchami. Fifth case is a little bit different. It's a little bit more complex. let's do this one. Let's do this one. I skipped number 4. Let's just go to number 5. Upadhyayat vyakaranam adhite. Adhite, studies. Who studies? Uh-oh, we don't have a 1-1. What do? We have to supply a 1-1. So, saha. Saha. Who studies? He studies. Saha means he. So we just have to supply. We have to imagine. It could also be she. It could be it. But it's going to be something, right? We can even say Devadatta. Devadattaha. Saha. But here they translate he. So saha. Saha dite. So studies. Who studies? He studies. He studies what? Vyakaranam. I hope we know what the word vyakaranam means. Otherwise, we should just end class. Purnamada. Vyakaranam means grammar. He studies grammar. Grammar from what? Upadhyayat. Upadhyaya is the teacher. Remember, the teacher of formal learning gets the status of apadana. Therefore, 5th case. Because whatever gets that status of apadanam gets the 5th case. Yeah? Shaking heads? Okay. Okay. If you look in your book on page 16 or 17, you won't see this. This is also on page 80. Okay, so what I will say about this is if you go back to page 16 or 17, I'm not sure which page is on, the source of birth is also given the status of apadanam. Okay? The place of the source of birth. I don't have that up right now, but you can look on page 16 or 17. The source of birth is also given the status of apadanam. So here we have the example on page 80 again. Jalat kamalam jayate. Jayate, born. What is born? Kamalam. Lotus is born. Born of what? Jalat. Is born of water. So that cause of birth, that source of birth, is also given the status of apadanam. Therefore, it's in 5th case. Okay. There's a question, yeah? Yeah. Go ahead, Sanjeev ji.
Example 1 and example 4.
Uh-huh.
Why phalam, is it not phalaha? And kamalam, is it not kamala?
Oh, yeah. So that's a good question. So why is it number 4 example? For example, why is it not? If it's 1-1, why not kamalaha, like ramaha? So the reason why it's kamalam is because this is not a masculine word. That's why gender matters. This is akaranta napumsakalinga, neuter gender. We haven't learned that yet, but 1-1 in akaranta napumsaka is like kamalam. We get that So you have to know gender of words because otherwise this could look like 2-1. Yeah. So that's why we just need some practice with these things. You'll notice that even if you, so how do you figure out, is it 1-1 or 2-1? One thing is you just get you'll start getting vocabulary. That's why under Rama Shabda, there's a bunch of vocabulary. You have to look at that vocabulary. Once we start associating, we'll start picking up gender, but also the context matters. Right? The word born, jayate, it can't take a karma. It can't take an object. You can't born something. So kamalam can't be 2-1 because you can't born something. It can't be the object of born. So, by context, we can also see Kamalam as 1-1, but we know that Napumsaka Linga, Akaranta Napumsaka Linga is Kamalam, like that. We'll learn that very soon. Okay? We'll have to wrap up. If you have any questions, you can hold it. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. So please